Dream Team, it's your boy D Neal back with another reaction video, guys. Here we are with why moving to Australia changed my life. Before we dive in, what I need you to do is to hit that subscribe button, ring the notification bell, get a video a thumbs up so it gets suggested, and let's jump straight in.
I wanted to riff a little bit about my experience of moving to another country. I'm a South African and I moved to Australia
So cool.
16 years ago now.
Oh, wow.
And over the years, there have been many things that have surprised me. I think considering that, the countries are both in the same hemispheres, we generally like the same things, sports, we have the same interests, and yet there are some major cultural differences that are not really on the surface, but the more you experience time here in Australia, you notice the slight differences, only because I have had these tendencies ingrained in me and I wanted to share them with you. If you haven't yet subscribed to this channel, please do so now, and then hit the bell as well so that you get notified of any new videos as they drop. So to begin with, I moved to Australia when I had just turned 22.
Ooh, very young.
And I followed a boy over here who's an Australian, and although we're no longer together, we were together for the first 7 years, I think it was,
wow.
of me being in this country. The plan was never to live here indefinitely. The plan was always to use Australia as a pit stop and potentially to make my way around the world and live in different places.
That's so dope. I always not envy, but I always admire. That's the word I'm looking for. I always admire those who aren't afraid to step out of their comfort zone, to travel and live in different places of the world and get to experience everything that the world has to offer. I legit think that's absolutely incredible. But continue.
Alas, I love this place so much. It's such an incredible country that I have spent the last 16 years here. In fact, I've spent more time here in Australia than I have in South Africa, because I grew up in South Africa and left when I had just turned 17 to live in the Netherlands and England, and also a very short stint in Hong Kong. So you'd say I'm pretty trapped, right? This video is inspired by a discussion that I had recently with a friend of mine as we were speaking about the ways in which I am so different, even though I've been living here for a long time. And I don't for one second think that this is a bad thing. In fact, I embrace it wholeheartedly. But it's worth noting that these differences can be seen in the culture as well. So number one, I'm a straight shooter. I don't beat around the bush. I say it how it is. And I also don't really fluff around much. So if I want something, I go for it. If I am not happy about something, I say it. If it's not worth arguing about, I turn my back and I walk the opposite direction. There's no in-between with me. It's just black and white.
Dang, I admire that too. People who are direct or straight up like that. Because that just ain't me. You feel me? I'm going to beat around the bush. I'm going to fluff it up a bit. I feel like, and to a detriment sometimes, I'm a people pleaser. So I try to spare as many feelings as possible. I try to adapt to whoever I'm around as much as possible. So like I said, to a detriment, I feel like I am a people pleaser. And I love people who are direct and just, they say it how it is. They're not afraid to hurt feelings. They're going to tell you exactly how they feel straight up. And that's cool, you feel me? So I really admire that. She's pretty dope.
Though I teach a lot about living in the grey, for me, my natural tendency is either yes or no, high or low. Yeah? I found that this is not a natural way of being in Australia. Australians are kind and gentle, and they don't really want to offend, and so quite often the narrative can go in loops. And I think me coming in with just such a straight and direct approach has at times startled people, if I'm honest. This holds me in good stead for the work that I do, because people come to see me, my clients, they know that they're going to get the truth from me, and that I'm not going to waste their time with trying to beat around the bush. I'm going to tell them how it is, I'm going to tell them how I see it, and I'm going to give them solutions as to how they can move from point A to B without struggling too much in the messy middle. Number 2.
See, I love that. But you see, I got some stray in me because I'm the same way, with nice, gentle, try my best not to offend. Like I said, I'm trying to, whoever I'm around, I'm a people pleaser, sometimes to a detriment. But that's just me. But she said, I'm straight up, I'm direct, I'm going to give you the truth. What you do with the truth is what you do with the truth, but I'm going to give you the truth. I'm going to give you solutions to handle your problems. And you can choose to take those solutions, or you can choose to be offended by the truth. But that's on you. I rock with that.
Is that I make decisions. Now, I am a manifesting generator. So for those of you who are into human design, you will know that we are designed to be interested in many things.
Yes.
The other thing about me is that I am an emotional authority. I have an emotional authority. And so what that means is that I have a wave of emotions that are constantly being portrayed in my life. So in the beginning, I used to make decisions based on the highs or the lows of my emotional wave. What I've come to learn a lot about over the last few years is that if I make a decision in the middle of the wave, so not when I'm at the top of my emotional high or at the bottom of my emotional low, if I make my decision in the center of that wave, then I'm more likely to feel that the decision was made in alignment with what I want for my future. Why do I tell you this? Because
I've never heard of the emotional authority. I've never heard of that. That's cool. Yeah, I feel like I try not to get too high. I mean, although sometimes in life you just get really excited. You do get high. Try not to get too low. It's rare for me to be like low. Anytime I'm young, I try to pick myself up, try to pick my energy up. I don't like being low. Being low sucks. So I try to be in the middle to high as much as possible and avoid the low as much as possible. But I completely understand what she's saying. And I mean, you really can't let emotions control your decisions. You have to let your decisions control your emotions. And I've learned that throughout life. And that's a lot easier said than done. I feel like everybody's still going to have issues with that throughout life. And you're going to be working on that. But I really like that. Emotional authority. Never heard that before. I rock with her.
I've made my decision. It's made. And
Okay.
I don't need to ask permission. And I don't need to speak to anybody else about it. The closest people in my life I'll engage in a conversation with them about it. But to be honest with you, once I've made my choice, I go straight for it.
I like that.
This, for me, this making a choice and then making a decision and going for it is also something that I've noticed isn't necessarily the case in Australia.
Really?
The community here is much more collaborative. People make decisions together. And I have found that in South Africa, or at least for me and my experience, is that we are quite autonomous in South Africa. And I think that this has got to do with the culture, right? I mean, if you just look at the history of South Africa, it's a third and first world country. You have to make decisions that are the best for you and your family. You can't really be thinking about the wider community, and this is really controversial, right? Because I want to live in a world where everybody considers everybody. I want to live in a world where it's community and collaboration over me and my needs. But I think once you've lived in a country where it's not the case and you fight for your own survival and the Darwinian theory of the fittest and the strongest gets through, then you can understand it to a certain degree.
Yeah.
How you make a decision what's best for your family and then you just go and do it. Even as I'm saying this to you, I'm so nervous about actually putting this out there because, in Australia, it's not really like that. We have an incredible opportunity here to stand together and make decisions as a community. We don't have that, at least when I lived there. We didn't have that in South Africa. Now, I'd really love to hear from you because I want to be wrong about that. If you're a South African and you don't agree with me, tell me about your experience about collaboration and community. I really want to know because my experience wasn't that, and I would love for it to be different. I would love for South Africans now to feel that they have that sense of community and collaboration. But from my experience, it's really dog-eat-dog world there. You do what you got to do to survive, and you make decisions, and you go straight for the jugular. I think this is the difference between
I feel like, yes, I completely understand everything she's saying because America definitely works the exact same way. It's dog eat dog world. It's every man for themselves. But at the same time, like she said, you want to experience that sense of community, that sense of collaboration, making decisions together for the best of the whole. But it seems like more so over here, you make your decisions based on what's best for you and your family or you and your people. You know what I'm saying? And so you don't make decisions for the whole. You're trying to survive. Like she said, you're trying to survive. You're trying to, and we're trying to thrive. You don't want to just survive. You want to thrive. You want to get to that next level. And, of course, I don't want to hurt anybody or anything, even though a lot of other people do that in America to get to that next level. But you're not really worried about other people when you're making decisions for you and your family. You're not worried about a community as a whole. You're not worried about a sense of collaboration. You're not worried about that. And like it just comes from growing up in that. Like, of course, like I would love the sense of community. I would love the sense of collaboration. That sounds incredible, but that's not the country that I live in. You feel me? But keep going. She's a kindred spirit, but we're different in a lot of ways, but we think the same in some ways. That's cool.
Living in a first and third world country is that sometimes you don't have the privilege, you don't have the space, or you're just living paycheck to paycheck. Or you are, as a collective, just looking for your next meal. If you look at South Africa right now, a lot of the country doesn't have power. There are certain parts of the country that don't have water. Every morning that I wake up in Australia, this sounds really crazy to someone who's never thought this way before. But when I put the light, I'm not even kidding here, guys. Like when I put the lights on in the morning, I say a little gratitude prayer.
Oh, thank wow.
You. When I open up my tap in the morning and the water comes out, I say a little gratitude prayer.
Wow.
When the garbage disposal trucks come past our house every Thursday morning to collect our garbage, I say a little gratitude prayer. I don't think a lot of us recognize how lucky we are in Australia.
Yeah.
We have everything that we need. All of our needs are met. We are just so incredibly lucky, and there are so many people in South Africa that don't have the same privileges. They don't have water and lights or electricity and all of the things that we take for granted here. And I think that has burnt its little patterns in my brain. I am just so incredibly grateful. And you will hardly ever hear me, and my friends can attest to this, you will hardly ever hear me complain about anything in this country because it's all relative. It's all
That's so cool. That's so cool. That's one thing I guess we're different, where I don't feel like I've ever felt that sense of poverty, I guess, where it's like you no power, or you turn on the tap and there's no water coming out, or to that measure. I've never felt that. And so when she says it's literally like survival of the fittest in her country, where it's like you're living paycheck to paycheck, you're struggling, and so you have to make decisions based off what's best for you and your family. I guess in America, I feel like it's different because I understand what she's saying when you make decisions what's best for you and your family, but I don't think it's now that she said that, it kind of rewired my thinking to thinking, well, like, I don't think I make those decisions out of a sense of survival. I think I make those decisions out of a sense of wanting like the best, of wanting to thrive, not just to survive, but wanting to thrive, wanting the best. And I feel like greed could be mixed in that as well. And so when she says that, that rewires me to thinking, oh, we kind of think the same, and where you make decisions what's best for you and your family, but what's different is our experiences and why they make those decisions just to survive. It seems like, whereas I feel like I'd make those decisions, and a lot of other Americans like to thrive and to try to climb higher than the station we are now. If that makes sense to you guys.
Relative, and especially over the last couple of months, those of you who haven't been paying attention to worldwide news, there have been riots going on in South Africa where, you know, there's been political unrest and buildings been set on fire and a whole bunch of really heartbreaking events that have taken place. And it's just solidified the fact that we are so incredibly lucky in this country, and I am so incredibly grateful to be living in this country. And I don't have a sense. I think this is any immigrant really that lives in another country that is better than the one that they came from. I don't have a sense of entitlement here at all. I'm just so incredibly grateful and lucky to be here. The next thing is that I'm much more safety conscious. I went away a few years ago with a couple of friends to the Gold Coast, and we all had our own little apartments. We'd booked them independently, and we went out for dinner, and then we were coming back at night, and I said to the group of girls, hey, you guys, do you mind just walking me, like on the way back to your apartments, do you mind just walking me back to mine? And they thought it was the most crazy thing, because why? And I was just safety conscious. I didn't want to be a single woman walking down back street on my own. And this is just a very small example of me being safety conscious. I'm always locking doors. I'm always watching out behind me when I'm walking down the street, even if it's in broad daylight. I just have this fear in me. And so this is a huge, big difference. I don't see this with a lot of people. I have a lot of South African friends that live here, and they don't feel the same. But this is something that has most certainly set me apart from other Australian friends that I have here. The other thing is that we're very different culturally. South Africans tend to be more conservative in the way we dress, in the way we speak. Yeah, so I know that this video is going to be super controversial because it's not going to hit home for everyone. And there are going to be points that you don't agree with, and that's totally fine.
Yeah.
I just wanted to share a little bit about my own story and the way that I feel about living in a foreign country. The fact that I've been here for 16 years and still feel that there are things that there are ways in which I don't fit in. Like I said, it's not a bad thing, but yet they're ingrained, and it is a cultural thing. And if you're thinking of moving to Australia, consider those aspects, you know, and although that doesn't have to be your experience, because you can come here and have a completely different experience to mine. What I have found is that a lot of the people that I've spoken to who have immigrated agree with me. Yeah, I hope that you found this helpful. I hope that this has given you a little bit of insight into who I am as well. And if you want to hang out with me for more than just this video, then please join me in my 5-day energy cleanse. It's free. You can join us via the link below, and you'll have 5 days worth of energy medicine tools and techniques that have helped me to get through the changes and the challenges that I've experienced of immigrating over the last almost 2 decades of my life. And so these will be sent to you daily. And if you're looking for a practice to help bring you back into your heart space, then check out this video, which talks a little bit about the energetic heart space and simple tools and techniques that will help you get in there.
Shout out her, Chan. That was dope. She kind of put herself out there with this one. And I think that's super cool. That's super dope. And I love how grateful, thankful she is for everything that she has, because she comes from a place where these were things that a lot of people didn't have. That's all we got. Make sure you subscribe, ring the notification bell, get a video a thumbs up so it gets suggested. It's your boy Neal, out.